Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U.E.'s Meridian, looking out at the stars through the large front window. The ship was huge, home to 200 humans who had been traveling through space for 6 months. They were exploring new parts of the galaxy, making maps and looking for new worlds. Jake was a tall man with brown hair and tired eyes. He had been captain for 5 years and loved his job. The crew trusted him, and he cared about each person on his ship. Today felt like any other day until Lisa Parker called out from her station. "Captain, I'm getting something strange," Lisa said. She was the communications officer, a young woman with red hair who is very good at her job. "There's a signal coming from that moon over there." Jake walked over to her station. On the screen, he could see a small moon going around a big gas giant. The moon looked empty and dead from far away. "What kind of signal?" he asked. "It sounds like a distress call, sir." "But it's not from any human ship," Lisa said. Her fingers moved quickly over her controls. "The signal is using math patterns, very complex ones, almost like music." Danny Brooks, the science officer, came over to look. Danny was a smart man who loved solving puzzles. He had black hair and always wore his uniform perfectly. "Captain, this is interesting. The math in this signal is beautiful. I've never seen anything like it." Jake looked at the moon again. In all his years in space, they had never found signs of other intelligent life. This could be the most important discovery in human history. "Amy, what do you think?" he asked. Amy Rodriguez was the security chief. She was a strong woman with short black hair and sharp eyes. She always worried about danger first. "I don't like it, Captain. Why would aliens send a distress call using math? It feels wrong. Maybe it's the only way they can communicate with." "U.S.," Danny said. "Math is universal. Any smart species would understand it." Lisa played the signal through the speakers. The sounds were strange and beautiful. They seemed to move through the air like water, making patterns that felt almost alive. Some of the crew stopped their work to listen. "It's beautiful," whispered one of the engineers. "Play it again," said another crew member. Jake noticed that everyone who heard the signal seemed to like it a lot, maybe too much. "Lisa, turn it off for now," he said. "But Captain, don't you want to hear more?" Lisa asked. Her eyes looked dreamy. "Later. First, let's talk about what we should do." Jake called a meeting with his main officers. They sat around the table in the briefing room. "We should go investigate," Danny said right away. "This could be first contact with aliens. We can't just ignore it." "It could be dangerous," Amy said. "We don't know anything about these aliens. The signal could be a trap." "A trap for what?" Danny asked. "We're just explorers. We don't have weapons or anything valuable." "We have ourselves," Amy said. "Maybe that's what they want." Jake thought about both sides. As captain, he had to make the hard choices. "We'll go investigate, but we'll be careful. Amy, prepare a security team. Danny, I want you to study that signal more. Lisa, keep monitoring for any changes." The next day, Jake took a small team down to the moon's surface. With him were Danny, Amy, and Tony Martinez, their best pilot. Tony was a cheerful man from Texas who could fly anything. The moon had a thin atmosphere, so they wore special suits. The surface was covered in strange crystals that glowed softly. As they walked, they could see the ruins of buildings in the distance. "Someone lived here," Danny said, his voice full of wonder. "These buildings are old, very old." The ruins were beautiful in a way that made them feel sad. The buildings were made of crystal and metal, shaped like flowers and waves. They glowed with soft light from inside. "The signal is coming from that big building in the center," Lisa said through their radio. They walked toward the largest structure. It was like a temple, with tall spires reaching toward the sky. The doors were open, as if waiting for them. Inside, the temple was even more beautiful. The walls were covered in symbols that seemed to move when they looked at them. In the center was a raised platform, and on it stood a woman. She was the most beautiful person any of them had ever seen. Her skin glowed with soft light, and her eyes were like stars. Her hair moved as if she was underwater, and when she smiled, it felt like the sun coming out. "Welcome," she said, and her voice was like music. "I am Lirelei. I have been waiting for you." The men could not speak. They just stared at her. Even Amy felt the woman's strange power, though she fought against it. "Waiting for us?" Jake finally managed to say, "I am the last of my people," Lirelei said. "The Nephis. We lived on this moon for thousands of years, but a great disaster destroyed us all. Only I survived." "What happened?" Danny asked. He could not take his eyes off her. "A star exploded near our system. The radiation killed everything. I only lived because I was in this temple, protected by our ancient technology." Lirelei stepped down from the platform. As she moved, she seemed to float rather than walk. "You must be so lonely," Tony said. His voice was soft and full of pity. "I have been alone for so long," Lirelei said. "When I heard your ship, I sent the signal. I hoped someone would come." "We can help you," Jake said. "We can take you to safety." Amy tried to speak, to warn them, but the words would not come. Something about this woman felt wrong, but she could not explain what. "Would you really help me?" Lirelei asked. "I have nowhere else to go." "Of course," Jake said. "We'll take you with you." As they prepared to leave, Lirelei touched each of their hands in thanks. Her touch was warm and made them feel happy in a way they had never felt before. None of them noticed that the temple's lights grew brighter after she touched them. None of them saw the satisfied smile that crossed her perfect face when she thought. They were not looking. They brought Lirelei back to the ship, thinking they were saving her. They had no idea what they had really brought aboard the Meridian. Lirelei was given quarters on Deck 7, near the guest rooms. The crew had never hosted an alien before, so everyone was excited and curious. Dr. Helen Carter, the ship's doctor, wanted to do medical tests to make sure Lirelei was healthy. "Understand you want to help," Lirelei said to Dr. Carter, "but my people are very different from yours. Your machines might hurt me." Dr. Carter was a kind woman with gray hair who cared about everyone's health. "I just want to make sure you're okay. The tests won't hurt." "Perhaps later," Lirelei said with a smile that made Dr. Carter forget why the tests were important. Strange things began happening on the ship. Crew members who had never met Lirelei started having dreams about her. They would wake up talking about the beautiful woman who spoke to them while they slept. "She told me about her world," said engineer Pete Johnson at breakfast. "It sounded like paradise. Crystal cities and flying creatures made of light." "I dreamed about her too," said navigator Kate Murphy. "She was so sad about being alone. I wanted to help her." Amy Rodriguez listened to these conversations with growing worry. She had not been sleeping well since they brought Lirelei aboard. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the alien woman's face. "Captain, we need to talk," Amy said to Jake in his office. "What about?" Jake asked. He seemed distracted, looking at reports on his computer. "About our guest. Something is wrong." "With her?" Jake looked up. "Wrong how?" "She seems fine to me. Very grateful for our help. The crew is acting strange. Everyone who meets her becomes obsessed with her. They talk about her constantly. She's the first alien we've met," Jake said. "Of course, people are interested. This is different, Captain. It's not natural." Jake stood up and walked to the window. "Amy, I think you're being paranoid. Lirelei has been through a terrible experience. She lost her entire species. We should be kind to her." Amy noticed that Jake's voice got softer when he said Liralay's name. "When did you last see her?" she asked. "This morning. She wanted to know about our ship. I showed her around." Jake smiled. "She's very intelligent. And beautiful." Amy felt a chill. Jake was a professional man who never talked about women that way. "Captain, I think she's affecting our minds somehow." "That's ridiculous," Jake said. But his voice was sharp. "You're just jealous because she's more beautiful than you." Amy stared at him. Jake had never said anything cruel to her before. They had been friends for years. "Captain, listen to yourself. You're not acting normal." Jake blinked, and for a moment he looked confused. I'm sorry, Amy. I don't know why I said that." "It's her influence," Amy said. "She's doing something." To us. Before Jake could answer, an alarm sounded. "Medical emergency on Deck 5, came the announcement. They rushed to the Arboretum, where they found Pete Johnson lying on the ground among the plants. He was not moving, but he had a peaceful smile on his face. Dr. Carter was already there, checking his body. "He's dead," she said quietly, "but I can't find any cause." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "His body just stopped working. Heart, brain, everything. But there's no injury, no disease, no poison. He just died." Amy knelt beside Pete's body. "He was one of the people dreaming about Liralay." "That has nothing to do with this," Jake said. "Check the security cameras," Amy ordered. Lisa looked at the records. "Pete was here for 2 hours. He was alone until ... double quotes. She stopped. Until what?" Amy asked. "Until Liralay came to see him. They talked for a few minutes, then she left. Pete died about an hour later." Amy felt her stomach drop. What did they talk about? "I can't hear everything, but she seemed to be comforting him. She touched his face, and it looked like she kissed him." Dr. Carter examined Pete's body more carefully. "There's something strange here. His brain shows no activity, but his body is perfectly healthy. It's like his mind just left." "People don't just die from nothing," Jake said. "No, they don't," Amy agreed, "unless something killed him." 2 days later, Navigator Kate Murphy was found dead in her cabin. Like Pete, she had died peacefully with a smile on her face. Security footage showed Liralay visiting her the night before. "This is not a coincidence," Amy told Jake. 2 people who dreamed about her are dead, and both died after she visited them. "You're being paranoid," Jake said, but he looked worried. More. Crew members began having the dreams. They would wake up talking about Liralay's beautiful voice and her sad story. Some of them started spending their free time near her quarters, hoping to see her. Dr. Carter worked day and night trying to understand the deaths. She found that both Pete and Kate had brain patterns that looked like they had been drained of something important. "It's like someone took their life force," she told Amy privately. "But that's impossible." "Is it?" Amy asked. "We don't know what aliens can do." The third death was Engineer Carlos Ruiz. He was found in the engine room, sitting peacefully in his chair. The security footage showed the same pattern. Liralay had visited him. They had talked, and she had touched his face gently. "Captain, we have to do something," Amy said. "She's killing our crew." Jake looked tired and confused. "She's not killing anyone. She's just trying to make friends. 3 people are dead, Captain, all after meeting with her." "Maybe it's a disease," Jake said. "Maybe her people carry something that's dangerous to us." Amy wanted to scream. "Then why aren't you sick? You've spent time with her too." Jake touched his face. I don't know." Dr. Carter made a discovery that changed everything. "The energy readings around Liralay's quarters are increasing," she told Amy. "Every time someone dies, the readings go up." "What does that mean?" "I think she's absorbing something from them. Their life energy, their souls. something that makes them alive. Amy finally had proof. We need to confine her. The captain won't listen, Dr. Carter said. She has too much influence over him. Then we'll have to act without him. But when they went to Liralay's quarters, she was gone. The door was locked from the inside, but she was not there. Amy called security to search the ship. They found her in the dining hall, sitting with a group of crew members. She was telling them stories about her whole world, and they listened like children hearing fairy tales. Liralay, Amy said. We need to talk, of course, Liralay said with a smile. I was just making friends. You're under arrest for the murder of 3 crew members. The crew members around Liralay looked angry. She didn't kill anyone, one of them said. She's innocent. She's a monster, Amy said. Liralay stood up slowly. I'm sorry you feel that way. I only wanted to help. As she spoke, Amy felt a strange pull in her mind. Liralay's voice was like honey, making her want to believe, want to trust. Don't listen to her, Amy told herself. She's dangerous. But it was hard to remember why. Liralay was so beautiful, so sad, so alone. Maybe Amy was wrong. Maybe the deaths. Or just coincidence. No, Amy said out loud. You're not getting in my head. Liralay's smile faded. I don't know what you mean. You're killing us. I don't know how, but you're feeding on us. That's a terrible thing to say, Liralay said. Her voice was hurt and innocent. Some of the crew members moved to protect her. Leave her alone, they said. She's suffered enough. Amy realized she was outnumbered. Half the crew was under Liralay's influence. If she tried to arrest the alien, they would stop her. This isn't over, Amy said. I hope we can be friends, Liralay said sweetly. I would hate for anything to happen to you. Amy felt a chill at those words. They sounded like a threat wrapped in kindness. As she left the dining hall, Amy knew she was running out of time. More crew members were having the dreams each night. Soon, everyone on the ship would be under Liralay's power, and then they would all die, one by one, with peaceful smiles on their faces. The deaths were happening faster now. Every day, Amy found another crew member dead with that same peaceful smile. The count was up to 50 people, and the ship felt empty and sad. Dr. Carter worked without sleep, trying to understand how Liralay was killing people. I've figured out how she does it, she told Amy in the medical lab. She touches them, usually with a kiss, and somehow drains their neural energy. Their what? Amy asked. Their brain power, their consciousness, everything that makes them who. They get sucked out, leaving just an empty body. Amy felt sick. And she gets stronger each time? Yes, the energy readings around her keep growing. She's like a vampire, but instead of blood, she feeds on minds. We have to stop her. How? Half the crew protects her, and the other half is too scared to act. Amy looked around the medical bay. It was too quiet. Before Liralay came, the ship was full of voices and laughter. Now it felt like a tomb. What about the captain? Amy asked. He's completely under her control. Yesterday, I saw him bring her flowers from the arboretum. He's never done anything like that before. Amy made a decision. We need to put her in the brig. The security team won't do it. They all love her now, and we'll do it ourselves. But when they went to find Liralay, she was not in her quarters. The door was open, and inside they found Engineer Susan Black lying on the bed, dead. She's moving freely around the ship, Amy said. She's hunting. They found Liralay in the engine room, talking softly to Maintenance Chief Bobby Clark. Bobby was a simple man from Montana who fixed things around the ship. He was not very smart, but he was kind and worked hard. Hello, Bobby, Liralay said in her musical voice. You work so hard. You must be tired. I guess, Bobby said. He was looking at her, but not with the same dreamy expression others had. "Are you really an alien?" "I am. Does that scare you?" "Nah, you seem nice enough." Amy watched from the doorway. Something was different about this conversation. Bobby was not acting like the others. He was not staring at Lirelei with worship. In his eyes. "You're very handsome," Lirelei said, moving closer to Bobby. "I've been lonely for so long." "That's too bad," Bobby said. "Being lonely is hard." Lirelei reached out to touch Bobby's face, the same gesture she had used on all the others. But when her fingers touched his skin, nothing happened. She looked confused. "Don't you think I'm beautiful?" "Sure, I guess. But I'm married to Sally back on Earth. She's prettier to me." Amy could not believe what she was seeing. Bobby was completely unaffected by Lirelei's power. She was touching him, but he was not. Falling under her spell, Lirelei tried again, this time leaning in to kiss Bobby's cheek. It was the same deadly kiss that had killed 50 people. But Bobby just stood there, looking slightly uncomfortable. "Ma'am, I don't think my wife would like that," he said, stepping back. Lirelei's beautiful face showed anger for the first time. "What's wrong with you?" she demanded. "Nothing's wrong with me. You're just being kind of forward." Amy realized what she was witnessing. Bobby Clark was immune to Lirelei's power. Somehow, someway, he could not be affected by her deadly touch. "Amy," Dr. Carter whispered behind her. "Are you seeing this?" "He's immune," Amy whispered back. "She can't hurt him." They watched as Lirelei tried again and again to influence Bobby. She used her voice, her touch, even tried to kiss him directly. Nothing worked. Bobby just stood there, polite but uninterested. "I should get back to work," Bobby said finally. "These engines don't fix themselves." "Wait," Lirelei said, desperation in her voice. "Don't you want to know about my world? About the beautiful things I've seen? Maybe later. I've got a job to do." Bobby walked away, leaving Lirelei standing alone in the engine room. For the first time since she came aboard, she looked confused and afraid. Amy and Dr. Carter quickly followed Bobby to another part of the ship. They found him in a maintenance tunnel, working on some pipes. "Bobby?" Amy said. "We need to talk." "Sure, boss." "What about?" "About the alien woman, Lirelei." Bobby looked up from his work. "She's a bit strange, isn't she? Very touchy." "She's killed 50 people on this ship," Amy said. "Killed? She doesn't look like a killer." Dr. Carter knelt down beside him. "Bobby? She has a power that affects people's minds. But it doesn't work on you. Why do you think that is?" Bobby thought for a moment. "I don't know. She's pretty, I guess, but not my type. And all that talk about beautiful worlds and such sounds like fairy tales to me." "You're not affected by her voice? Her touch? Should I be?" Amy felt hoped for. The first time in days. "Bobby, you might be the only person on this ship who can stop her." "Stop her from what?" "From killing everyone." Bobby put down his tools. "Well, we can't have that." "What do you need me to do?" Dr. Carter ran tests on Bobby's blood and brain patterns. What she found was amazing. Bobby had a rare condition that made his brain work differently. He could not be influenced by psychic powers. "It's like he has a natural shield," Dr. Carter explained. "Most people's minds are open to outside influence. Bobby's mind is closed. Is that why he's so ... Simple?" Amy asked. "He's not simple. He's just direct. He sees things as they are, not as others want him to see them." Meanwhile, Lirelei was becoming more dangerous. Frustrated by her failure with Bobby, she began killing faster. 3 more crew members died that day, all found with that same peaceful smile. Captain Jake Morrison was now completely under her control. He followed her around like a lost puppy, bringing her food and flowers, doing whatever she asked. "Captain," Amy tried to reason with him. Look around. Half our crew is dead. They died peacefully, Jake said. Lirelei comforted them in their final moments. She killed them. You're jealous of her beauty, Jake said. You always were jealous of beautiful women. Amy wanted to hit him. This was not the Jake she knew. The real Jake would never say such things. Sir, I'm relieving you. Of command, Amy said. You're not fit to lead. You can't do that. I'm the captain. Not anymore. Amy had the few remaining loyal crew members confine Jake to his quarters. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, but she had no choice. With Jake confined, Amy took command of the ship, but she knew it was probably too late. More than half. The crew was dead, and Lirelei was growing stronger. We need to use Bobby, she told Dr. Carter. He's our only weapon against her. But he's just a maintenance man. He's not a fighter. He doesn't need to be. He just needs to get close to her. They found Bobby in the cafeteria, eating his lunch alone. Most of the crew was either dead or hiding from Lirelei. Bobby, Amy said, we need your help. Okay, Bobby said simply. What do you need? We need you to stop Lirelei from killing anyone else. Bobby nodded. How do I do that? We're working on it. But first, we need to understand why you're immune to her power. I don't know. She just doesn't seem that special to me. Amy realized that Bobby's immunity was not just about his brain. It was about his heart. He loved his wife Sally so much that no other woman could compare. His love protected him like armor. Bobby, Amy said, you might be the only person who can save us all. Well then, Bobby said, finishing his sandwich, I guess I better get to work. For the first time in days, Amy smiled. They had found their weapon against the alien predator. It was not a gun or a bomb. It was a simple man from Montana who could not be fooled by beauty or lies. The final battle was about to begin. The remaining crew members had locked themselves in different parts of the ship. Amy counted only 30 people left alive out of the original 200. The ship felt like a ghost town, with empty corridors and silent rooms. Dr. Carter worked frantically to understand Bobby's immunity, while Amy tried to keep everyone safe. But Lirelei was hunting faster now, moving through the ship like a predator who knew her prey was trapped. She's not just killing randomly anymore, Amy told the survivors over the radio. She's picking people off one by one, like she's enjoying it. Bobby sat in the medical bay, letting Dr. Carter run more tests. She seemed frustrated when she couldn't affect me, he said. Maybe that's good? It's very good, Dr. Carter said. Your brain waves are completely different from everyone else's. You have a natural resistance to psychic influence. Psychic? Like reading minds? Something like that. She uses her beauty and voice to control people's thoughts. But your mind works differently. You can't be controlled. Amy received a call from the bridge. Lisa Parker was still alive, but she sounded scared. Captain Rodriguez, Lirelei is here. She's asking about Bobby. What did you tell her? Nothing. But she knows something is different about him. She keeps asking where he is. Amy felt a chill. If Lirelei was actively looking for Bobby, it meant she saw him as a threat. Lisa, get out of there. Lock yourself in somewhere safe. I can't. She's right here, and she's so beautiful. I want to help her. Lisa, fight it. Remember what happened to the others. But the radio went quiet. Amy knew they had lost another crew member. We're running out of time, Amy told Bobby. She's looking for you. Why? I'm nobody special. You're the only person on this ship she can't kill. That makes you very special. Dr. Carter made a breakthrough. I've been studying the energy readings around Lirelei. She's not just killing people. She's absorbing their life force, their memories, their personalities, everything that makes them human. Why? Amy asked. I think it's how her species survives. They travel from world to world, feeding on intelligent life. She's probably done this thousands of times. Bobby looked confused. But she said she was the last of her kind. She lied, Amy said, about everything. So she's not a refugee? No, Bobby, she's a predator, and we're her prey. The ship's lights flickered, and the air felt strange. Amy checked the readings and saw that Liralay's energy signature was growing stronger. She's fed on over 170 people, Dr. Carter said. The energy she's absorbed is making her more powerful. More powerful how? I don't know. But we need to stop her before she gets stronger. They heard footsteps in the corridor. Outside, slow, deliberate steps that echoed in the empty hallway. She's coming, Amy whispered. The door to the medical bay opened, and Liralay walked in. But she looked different now. Her skin glowed brighter, and her eyes held a cold light. She was still beautiful, but now her beauty felt dangerous. Hello, Bobby, she said. Her voice was like music, but there was something sharp underneath it. I've been looking for you. Hi, Bobby said. He was sitting calmly, not affected by her presence at all. Why aren't you afraid of me? Liralay asked. Everyone else fears me now. Should I be afraid? Yes, I am death. I am the end of worlds. I have consumed entire civilizations. Bobby looked at her with the same expression he used when fixing a car. Broken pipe. That's not very nice. Liralay's perfect face showed anger. Nice? I am a goddess. I am beautiful beyond measure. I am power itself. You're just a person, Bobby said. A mean person who hurts others. I am not a person. I am Nethys, the dream killers, the devourers of souls. My people have existed since the stars were young. Amy felt cold. So you lied about being the last of your kind. Of course I lied. We are scattered across the galaxy, each hunting alone. We find worlds full of intelligent life, and we feed until nothing remains. How many worlds have you destroyed? Dr. Carter asked. Hundreds, thousands. I have lived for millennia, moving from star to star, leaving empty planets behind me. Why? Amy asked. Because I must. It is what I am. You humans create art and love and hope. I consume them all. Bobby stood up. Well, you can't consume me. No, Liralay said, and her voice was full of frustration. I cannot, and I do not understand. Why? Maybe because I'm not as smart as the others, Bobby said. Maybe dumb people are harder to trick. You are not dumb, Liralay said. You are something else. Something I have never encountered before. She moved closer to Bobby, and Amy saw her true nature. She was not just beautiful anymore. She was terrible, like a storm or a disease. The absorbed life force of the crew swirled around her like a dark cloud. I could kill you with my bare hands, Liralay said. But you won't, Bobby said calmly. Why not? Because you need to understand how I can resist you. It's driving you crazy. Liralay screamed, and the sound was not human. It was like breaking glass and dying stars. The lights in the medical bay flickered and went out. I have killed gods, she said in the darkness. I have devoured species that ruled galaxies. I will not be defeated by a simple human. But Bobby's voice was steady in the dark. You're not killing anybody else on this ship. Watch me, Liralay, said Dot. She disappeared, moving through the ship like a shadow. Over the next hour, 6 more crew members died. Their screams echoed through the corridors before cutting off into silence. She's getting desperate, Amy said. That makes her more dangerous. What can we do? Dr. Carter asked. We use the one advantage we have, Amy said, looking at Bobby. You, Bobby nodded. Tell me what to do. Dr. Carter had been working on something. While they talked, I've been studying your brain patterns. I think I can create a device that projects your immunity in a small area. You mean make other people immune like me? Not exactly. But maybe I can create a field that disrupts her power. How long do you need? A few hours. But I need Bobby to help. The device has to be calibrated to his specific brain patterns. Amy checked the ship's status. They had 24 people left alive, and Lirelei was hunting them down one by one. We don't have a few hours, Amy said. Then we make time, Bobby said. I'll keep her busy. Bobby, she could kill you physically. Just because she can't use her power on you doesn't mean she can't hurt you. Maybe, but she won't. She's too curious about why I'm different. Amy realized Bobby was right. Lirelei's pride would not let her simply kill him. She needed to understand. His immunity first. Okay, Amy said. But we do this together. I'm not letting you face her alone. What about me? Dr. Carter asked. You keep working on that device. It might be our only chance. As they prepared for the final confrontation, Amy realized something important. Bobby was not just immune to Lirelei's power. He was proof that humanity had something the alien predator could not understand or defeat. Love, simple, honest love for his wife, his friends, his duty. It was not sophisticated or complex. It was just real. And sometimes the simplest things were the strongest. The battle for the ship was about to begin, and their weapon was not technology or violence. It was the heart of one good man who could not be corrupted by lies or beauty. In the darkness of space, that might be enough. The final confrontation happened in the ship's main hub, where all the corridors met. Amy had called the remaining survivors there because it was the most open space on the ship. If they were going to make a stand, it would be here. Only 18 people were left alive. They huddled together, scared and tired. Many of them had lost friends to Lirelei's deadly touch. They looked at Bobby with hope, knowing he was their only chance. Dr. Carter finished the device just as Lirelei appeared. The alien woman no longer looked like the beautiful refugee they had rescued. She glowed with stolen life force, and her eyes burned like dying stars. The air around her shimmered with power. So few of you left, Lirelei said, her voice echoing strangely. I will be sad when this meal is finished. You're not eating anyone else, Bobby said, stepping forward. Lirelei laughed, and the sound made the metal walls vibrate. Still so confident, still so immune to my charms. I have decided what you are. What's that? Bobby asked. A mistake. A flaw in human evolution. My kind is fed on hundreds of species across the galaxy. There are always a few individuals who resist us, but never completely. You are the first I cannot touch at all. Maybe your people never met humans before, Amy said. Oh, but we have. Earth is not the first human world we have found. Amy felt her blood turn cold. What do you mean? Did you think Earth was humanity's only home? Your species spread across many worlds before we found them. We have devoured human colonies in 17 star systems. The survivors looked at each other in shock. They had never known there were other human worlds. You're lying, Amy said. Why? Would I lie now? Those worlds are empty now, their populations consumed. Earth will be next, once I finish with you. How? Bobby asked. I will send a signal to my sisters when I leave here. They will come in ships like beautiful flowers, claiming to be refugees or traders. And humans, being kind and trusting, will welcome them. Lirelei began to glow brighter. The stolen life force of nearly 200 people swirled around her, like a storm. But first, I will solve the puzzle of your immunity, even if I have to cut you apart to do it. She moved toward Bobby, and for the first time, she looked truly dangerous. Her fingernails grew into claws, and her beautiful face became something terrible. Now, Bobby, Amy shouted. Dr. Carter activated the device. It was small, no bigger than a phone, but it projected Bobby's brain patterns in a field around him. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Lirelei screamed. The device was working, creating a bubble of immunity around Bobby. When she tried to use her powers near him, they turned back on her. "Impossible," she said, stepping back. "Not impossible," Dr. Carter said. "Just human." But Lirelei was still incredibly strong. She had absorbed the life force of almost 200 people. She picked up a metal beam and threw it at Bobby like a spear. Bobby dove aside, and the beam crashed into the wall behind him. "She's trying to kill me the old-fashioned way," he said. "Keep her in the field," Amy shouted. "The device is working." Lirelei attacked again, this time with her bare hands. But something strange was happening. Each time she tried to use her powers near Bobby, the device reflected them back at her. She was fighting herself as much as she was fighting him. "This is not possible," Lirelei said. "I am eternal. I am power itself." "You're a bully," Bobby said, dodging another attack. "And bullies don't like it when people fight back." The battle continued, but Lirelei was getting weaker. The device was draining her stolen energy, sending it back into the air instead of letting her use it. "What's happening to her?" one of the survivors asked. "She's losing the energy she stole," Dr. Carter explained. "Bobby's immunity is like a mirror. Her powers bounce off it." Lirelei tried one final desperate attack. She grabbed several metal pipes and threw them at the entire group. But the device protected them all, creating a barrier that her stolen power could not penetrate. "No," she screamed, "I will not be defeated by mortals." But she was already growing smaller, less bright. The stolen life force was leaving her, dispersing into the air like smoke. "You cannot kill me," she said, but her voice was weaker now. "I am immortal. We're not going to kill you," Amy said. She had prepared something while the battle raged. "We're going to contain you." The restraints were specially designed, using the same technology as the device. They created a field around Lirelei that kept her powers turned inward. "This will not hold me forever," Lirelei said, as they locked the restraints in place. "It doesn't have to," Amy said. "Just long enough to get you to Earth." "Earth? Why?" "So the scientists there can study you. Learn how to protect humanity from your kind." Lirelei's beautiful face showed fear for the first time. "You cannot do this. I am a goddess." "You're a parasite," Bobby said simply. "And now you're caught." Ugh. Survivors worked together to secure Lirelei in a special holding cell. The device that projected Bobby's immunity was built into the walls, making it impossible for her to use her powers. "How did you know this would work?" Amy asked Dr. Carter. "I didn't. But Bobby's immunity is based on love. Love for his wife, love for his friends, love for doing the right thing. I thought maybe we could use that." "Love?" one of the survivors asked. "Lirelei feeds on consciousness, on the spark that makes us who we are. But love is not just in the mind. It's in the heart, in the soul. She can steal thoughts and memories, but she cannot steal love." Bobby nodded. "That makes sense. I love Sally too much for anyone else to seem important." "And your love protected you," Amy said. "It made you immune to her lies." The trip back to Earth took 3 months. During that time, Lirelei tried every trick she could think of to escape. She tried to bargain, to threaten, to plead. But the device held her powerless. "You have doomed your species," she told Amy one day. "When my sisters realize I am missing, they will come in force." "Let them come," Amy said. "Now we know how to fight them. One immune human will not save you all." "No," Amy agreed. "But we'll find others like Bobby, and we'll build more devices. We'll be ready." When they reached Earth, The news of their discovery shook the world. Humanity learned that they were not alone in the universe, and that there were predators hunting them among the stars. But they also learned something important. Love was stronger than power. Simplicity was stronger than sophistication. And sometimes the most ordinary person could save everyone. Bobby Clark went home to his wife Sally in Montana. He never spoke much about what happened on the ship. When reporters asked him how he had saved humanity, he just smiled. "I didn't do anything special," he would say. "I just did my job." But Amy knew better. In a universe full of predators and hunters, Bobby had proven that humanity had something worth defending. Not their technology or their weapons, but their capacity to love each other. The stars were full of dangers, but they were also full of hope. And as long as there were people like Bobby Clark in the world, humanity would survive. Lyra Lee remained. In her special prison, a reminder of the threats that waited in the darkness between stars. But she was also proof that those threats could be defeated. Her kiss had slayed civilizations across the galaxy, but it could not slay the human heart. In the end, that made all the difference.